Call this meeting to order and note the members present and our newspaper and all the gentlemen sitting from the Marina. It'll be interesting. I have to do a land acknowledgement. We will begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathering on land that has been inhabited by Indigenous people since time immemorial. We would like to recognize that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty territory, and the land on which we are gathered today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. Specifically, we acknowledge the neighboring community of Mishpicot First Nation, for whom we have great respect. We also recognize the contributions of all Indigenous peoples, including the Métis, in shaping and strengthening the community and province of Ontario. Number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Joe, you don't have any? Okay. Approval of the agenda. Can I have a Kathy and Jim? Okay, we have, pardon me?
All in favor.
All in favor, thank you. Approval of the delegations and presentations, and we're going to do the broadband one first, since they came to us before the gentleman did. So, are we online?
Mm-hmm.
She's there?
Yeah, Susan Church.
Okay, this is Susan Church. She's the executive director of Blue Sky Net. So go right ahead, Sue.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? I've had a bit of an issue today. We're good? Excellent. So I don't know, Maury, do we have my presentation up somewhere, or should I share my screen?
No, we have it here, Susan. Can you see it?
No.
Okay, it's coming. 1 second.
Thank you. Lovely.
Now you should. Okay, good.
Perfect. And I want to advance it. I just click it.
You give it a shot, or we'll do it.
Okay, so I'll just begin very quickly. I know time is important for you. Giving you a wee bit of history, since 2002, FedNor has funded us operationally. We are a nonprofit corporation based out of North Bay. There used to be 5 such organizations, and now there's Blue Sky Net, and we're sort of responsible for all of Northern Ontario, working with our colleagues still at the Northern Ontario Innovation Centre, or Northwestern Ontario Innovation Centre. So in all of this time, what we have been doing is working to do what we can to bring technology to Northern Ontario, whether it's working with businesses to help them adopt technology, or whether it's working with municipalities, First Nations, to bridge that digital divide that we all know exists. So what I'm here to do tonight is talk to you about a community toolkit. And essentially what we have done over these last 25 years is worked with a lot of different organizations and municipalities and First Nations to put together basically a toolkit that makes sure that you're ready to enter into opportunities that come along for funding broadband projects. In most of the cases, we have acted as the proponent, where we will work with the municipality, see what their needs are, go to an RFP situation where we can see who the ISPs are that may be interested in bringing service to your community. And in doing so, we have, I think we're now somewhere over about the $60 million mark in securing funding for projects. So we've worked very hard to do this. We'll just move along to the next slide. I don't know if I can do it myself.
We'll do it.
Great, thank you. So one of the things that we want to do is always make sure that communities are ready. I think that's the biggest thing that we hear from internet service providers, is when they are interested in serving a community, they they find sometimes that the community is not quite ready to receive them. And so one of the things that we always try to do is encourage municipalities to form local broadband committees. I know Wawa has been very, very forward thinking in what you're doing, and certainly your mayor is working very hard on your behalf. We've had the opportunity to work together a lot, and I appreciate your mayor's efforts in this regard. And so basically, the plan is that we try to develop a roadmap for each community. If we move to the next slide, we'll see that one of the things that we like to do is make sure that we provide information. And one of the best ways to do that when we're looking to secure funding from whether it's the provincial government or the federal government is we do a speed test campaign. Now, the speed test campaign, we've identified one here for you. Thankfully, back in the old days, we used to do it by visiting hockey games and town hall meetings and that kind of thing to encourage your ratepayers to participate. Now, thanks to social media, we have identified there's some opportunities here where you can put out this campaign on your social media, asking your citizens to take speed tests. And we've developed one here for you so and again, this is all part of the work that we do. We're funded to do this through FedNor. So on your social media campaign, you want to ask your citizens, how fast is your internet? And so we're trying to encourage them to take these speed tests. Now, the speed test is the same speed test. We direct them to our connectednorth.ca site, but it's the same speed test that's used by ISED or the federal government, and it's called CIRA. You've probably heard of CIRA speed tests. They're the ones that you go to for your URLs when you're developing web pages and that kind of thing, but they also run a speed test, and that is the one that ISED looks at and uses when they're reviewing speeds in communities. If we want to move to the next slide, there's really ways that you can, work to really support this idea of doing these campaigns. I talked earlier about a broadband committee. It's really just trying to get everybody in your community involved in trying to solve this problem. And so what happens is, as you run this campaign for this period, it'd be up to you, of course, if you want to develop a broadband committee. You may already have one, but it's just for 2 weeks, do everything you can to get the word out. And so what happens after this campaign is that we take that information and we analyze it. We do things like we can tell when someone's taken a speed test using Starlink. Obviously, it's going to be very fast. And so we're able to take those speed tests out of the analysis so that we can really determine exactly where the service is and the speeds are lacking. When that happens, we take that information and send it off to potential funders. And in this case, we're trying to talk to the provincial government about looking at the situation in Wawa and seeing how they might be able to help in finding the funding that's going to be needed. Let's move to the next step. So moving along as you go through this whole plan is when I talked earlier about becoming broadband ready. It's really critical that when an ISP comes to town, let's say, for example, I'm able to find funding, which would be my hope for Wawa, and we have been able to secure someone who may be interested. William's joined us this evening. I know that he has an interest in Wawa, and we're very happy to know that. When someone comes to you and they're looking to do a project in your community, the provincial government over the last 3 or 4 years have developed all sorts of legislation that is there to insist, if you will, I guess there's probably another word for that, but I'm going to use the word insist. They insist that you hurry up with your permits. I can tell you quite honestly, in Northern Ontario, I've never seen that be a problem. Because you know what? Everybody in Northern Ontario knows we need to improve our broadband situation. And so I have always felt that municipalities are very good in Northern Ontario about processing their permits, working with the internet service providers to make sure that they're ready to provide permitting or approvals on road access or what have you. To the next slide. So again, we're going to suggest a few different things that you can do here. The gap analysis will be one that if you go again to connectednorth.ca, you will find a map there, which is the Ontario Internet Access Map. We developed that. In Northern Ontario, we're the boots on the ground. We work with the municipalities. We know where the service is and where the service isn't. And we try to keep updating things to get it right. And this is where it will be really critical for the municipality to provide as much detailed mapping as you can to show where service is not available at speeds of 50, at least 50 by 10 service. So we would be looking for some sort of mapping. It could be drawn on a napkin. Doesn't matter. We'll do the finer points and get it into a GIS system and make sure that it's very clear. Oh, hi, Tom. I didn't see you sitting there. So on to the next one. We'll take all of that information, and this will give you an idea of what the Ontario Internet Access Map looks like. So we'll certainly go to the Wawa and the area and, really try to put together a plan that we can present to the province for funding. And so working with any of the internet service providers that may be interested in coming to Wawa, we'll have this information ready for them so that we can help you do as much as we can to get the funding that you'll need for this kind of a project. We have one more slide. I think we can go past that one. And we know what broadband is and what it means, so I'm going to slip through that one quickly as well. You can tell this is a little bit old. We've secured, as I say, closer to actually $62 million now for projects. So this formula works. There's success that we have seen over the years, and we have worked with all of the various programs that are out there starting in 2008. I'll never forget it. Our very first project, we were so excited. It took a small municipality here in Powassan from dial-up to 3x1. And it was like so exciting that people, could get 3 megabits per second down. So, that we've obviously come a long way since then. And we hope for the same thing for Wawa, that we're able in some small way to be able to help you through making sure that you are able to get, any of the successes that are available to you out there. And I think that might be the end. And if any of you have questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. Melanie, Mayor Melanie.
Thank you very much, Susan. Susan, I just wanted to call on Will and Tom before we open the floor to any questions, just to allow them to present their opportunity should we be successful in getting funding and perhaps being able to attract an ISP. What would that look like, and how would that really support not only the residents of Wawa, but certainly support businesses in Wawa, in your opinion?
I think.
If there isn't any questions, I'm happy to kind of give a quick intro to everybody. Good job, Susan, then. No questions. Okay, so I'll give you a 1 minute tour. So Muskoka Wi-Fi is literally a born and raised company out of the north. We are Canadian. We built it for Canadians, and we have, honest to God, experience dealing with these wonderful terrains of trees, rocks, and lakes. We bring this to the table because my home, just like yours, was bypassed by the big companies. We watch the fiber lines go up down the highway and just keep on going. For people that aren't familiar with Muskoka, we're roughly 8 hours south of you guys, or 2.5 hours north of Toronto, depending on which way your direction is going. But more importantly, thanks to Mayor Melanie and obviously Susan and a consultant of ours, Jason, we have now know that you're one of our community, or one of the communities like our own. We have the ability, we've done so in the past, to be very close to ours, which was very similar, Township of Romero. They gave us 3 years and a little bit of money to bring internet service and Wi-Fi to their constituents. We did it in 3 months. We're happy to work hard. We're happy to do it quickly. Now, that is an optimal scenario, but we do have some preliminary plans to come to Wawa. We'll do so at a competitive price. We'll do so with better coverage. And we want to do so in a way that is going to benefit the entire community, and more so not as an individual. We do know that the competition is out there, but honestly and truly, we just want to be a part of a community that really appreciates the internet as we do, and we'll do so in any way that needs to be done. If there are any questions, by all means, for Susan and or ourselves, feel free to ask.
I have a question. How are you guys, we have Shaw Rogers here, so are you tied in with them? Is that what you guys do, or is this something totally different?
So we typically take a hybrid approach, and the reason why we do that is redundancy. And so to answer your question, would I utilize the Shaw Rogers infrastructure? Absolutely. And when we do that, we would do so with a wholesale agreement. And what that really has in place is called a service level agreement. So they absolutely have to keep our connection alive, whereas a residential or even a business connection, they don't have in place what's called a service level agreement. You can purchase it, but it's very expensive to do so. We have also reached out to Bell as well, and we are in the conversation with, believe it or not, a satellite provider, which is not Starlink, that does specific connections just for a company like ours. That wouldn't be this year, but that would be in the year to come as their satellites come online.
So further, because right now our Shaw Rogers, basically it kind of sucks. It goes on, disappears, comes back an hour later, and so are you guys going to improve that service or what?
Yeah, so exactly that. We would work with the Rogers team and obviously the Shaw team, and we would do so in a fashion that what it does is when we put out our, call it, contract, and by all means, we are going to be signing up for an obligated financial amount for the next probably 3 to 5 years at the very minimum. It triggers an upgrade event for them. So whatever infrastructure is causing these issues along the way, we then say, hey guys, we're going to be here, we're going to be operating, and we need a guarantee from you guys that it will run, and it's going to run at a certain amount. It's like putting a booster pump on your pressure for your house, to get the water upstairs. We're going to make them do that, and we're going to do so by obligating to a financial agreement to do so that for that upgrade.
Are there any other questions?
The mayor raised her hand.
She raised her hand again? I'm sorry, I couldn't see. Go ahead, Melanie.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hatfield. Through you to Susan. Susan, are you able to help us understand why it's so important for residents to come out, engage in the speed test campaign, and to really help us gather this data, because I know we have tried to do this before, but it was really an in-house effort. And what is going to help us make the difference to this time around?
Absolutely. So first of all, again, it's going to be key for your citizens to understand that for anybody to become interested in bringing their service to Wawa, they need to know what's missing, right? That's sort of the first thing. And for the funders, sadly, because the mapping is not accurate in what is available to the funders to make their decisions, they think right now y'all are covered. They think everything in Wawa has 50 by 10, that you're all good. They can move along someplace else. And we know that that's not the case. And so what it will be so important once they begin to see your social media and hear that you're doing this speed test campaign, it'll be so important because with that information, I have undertaken to go to the province. They are expecting my results. I have just been approved for 6 projects elsewhere in Northern Ontario. So I am kind of in their good books right now, and looking to make sure that we do what we can to make them see that Wawa needs this service. It's not all covered like everyone thinks it is. And again, that's where it'll be really critical for your citizens to take these speed tests. We'll sort them out, even if, like, the very best thing is, for example, to take a speed test in your home before the kids all get on Netflix and gaming and all that kind of thing, so that we try to get as accurate a test as possible. And we would ask everyone to take 3 and 4 tests a day if they can. Just every time you hop on, take a speed test so that we can get a sense of what is really going on. And then, of course, it'll be important to know with your map that you're going to provide where you think that there really is no service right now that's equitable. So yeah, it'll be important. And again, in our role, we facilitate projects. We're not part of William or Tom's organization. We are agnostic in our choices. We want the best solution for the community to fill its needs in the best, most expedient way.
Very much, Susan. That was very interesting. What's going to happen now is, the report will go to the staff. They'll put it all together. They'll come back to council. But I can see it taking a couple of weeks, though. But thank you very much.
And that's fine. I mean, I think I'll just keep in touch, and when you're ready to start your campaign, just let me know that you're ready to start it, and we'll go from there.
Very much.
Thank you.
Can I continue now, Mel? Mm-hmm. Okay, delegations, presentations, that was the one. And the next one is from the Marina, dredging the Marina Committee, Chuck Ferran. Are you speaking, Chuck, on behalf of the committee?
I am. Did you want me to sit up front so I could see?
Yeah, I had seats here or bring a seat there, whatever you.
Barry said there was gonna be cameras, so I just wanted to make sure I'm in front of
You got your good side of the camera, right?
Yeah. Well, this is informal. I like this. Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor and councilors, I want to thank you first of all for allowing us to bring our concerns forward. Before we start, if anybody doesn't know me, yeah, they haven't been around very long. Anyway, I'm Chuck, and they asked me to do this for the Marina Committee, and I was more than happy to help them out because I think between them, the Marina Committee, and Mayor and Councilor, and the municipal staff, I think they've done a marvelous job of revitalizing the Marina. They've been at it for 7 years, and I personally would like to thank them. I would like to thank one of the members who unselfishly donated his own finances to a couple of the things that the Marina enjoys now. I know my grandchildren love the park, and thank you. Anyway, that's what I wanted to get off my chest first. I'm going to give you our spiel, and then at the end, we'll of course be open to questions. Everybody can hear me, of course. The entrance to the Marina Basin needs to be dredged. This is not a maybe we should or maybe we shouldn't decision. It needs to be done in order to keep the marina viable. Water depths are down to 18 inches in places, making it impossible for many boats to get through. The channel is also extremely narrow, posing danger to two boats if they were to pass at the same time. Salmon fishing last year was a huge boost to the Wawa economy and tourism. It is apparently going to be even better according to the Great Lakes Fishery Commission. Not having a viable marina would greatly hurt our economy and our tourism. The cost of dredging is approximately $25,000. Marine income has been increasing every year. In 2014, total revenue was $5,700. In 2024, it was $25,500. As part of the divestiture agreement, small craft harbors gave to the municipality $500,000. $150,000 of that went to the bathroom and legal fees for the divestiture. This leaves $350,000 for marina upgrades. I don't think that asking for $25,000 should be a big deal to keep the marina open. Also, as part of the divestiture, there is a clause in the contract that states that the marina must be maintained in usable condition for 5 years, not being able to get in and out of a usable marina. We have received letters from fishermen and other communities who come here on a regular basis to fish salmon, and they're astounded that the municipality would even consider closing down the facilities. Out-of-town registration for dockage fees is considerably up so far this year. On the municipality video, it has a couple of shots promoting fishing and boating. Safety is also a huge factor. We have spoken with the local OPP, and they tell us if they can't safely navigate the channel, there will be no OPP boat here this year. They are called upon several times this summer for search and rescue and other calls. If they are not here, who's going to do this? We invested $100,000 in new bathroom docks, and docks are in good condition. A new signage is going up shortly. Why would we stop investing now? I understand that $350,000 is a conditional reserve account, is in a conditional reserve account for the marina, meaning it can be used for things other than the marina if needed. In our opinion, the marina should have first priority to access this money, as it is the Marina Committee, in conjunction with the town, who have worked for 7 years to get this money. We need a decision on this sooner than later, as the window of dredging in the last 2 weeks of July, and equipment and manpower needs to be organized. In conclusion, we ask for a resolution of support to use the funding for dredging. We ask a diversion of protocol and take a vote now, or at least give us a timeline when we're going to get the answer. Reason being is, if this fails, we're going to go to the federal government and ask Terry Sheen for the money for the dredging. With that, unless I missed anything.
No, I think you got it all.
I'm open to questions. I understood I had 10 minutes. Did I make it?
Oh, yeah, you got that.
I have a question. Go ahead.
My one question is, did you apply for other funding?
Yes,
Did you receive any other funding?
we have not heard back yay or nay from anybody. Now, we applied to Vallard, no, not Vallard, Westholme and Alamos and Villeneuve, and we just approached First Nations.
What about the power company?
They will not do a Band-Aid fix. They're gonna give us a loader for the job and an operator, and they'll pay the fuel. But they will not, they'll put money out for a big fix. Like if there's an ultimate fix, it's $200,000, they'll pay for it. But they will not do a Band-Aid repair.
Have they come up with an idea to do a fix so that you don't have to keep doing this every year, or?
I don't think so, no. No. Now, West Dome, oh, sorry, John. West Dome is only having their donation meeting this week. And again, they just got the request for donations, so we may hear something back from the end of this week.
So then it might not be $25,000 total
Correct.
that you need.
Correct, because apparently the new hotshot at West Dome was an avid salmon fisherman. So, well.
Kathy, if I could just say something. I know what the problem is, I know what the solution is, and I know who's accountable. It's gonna be a hard role to carry out, but if you'd like to hear more about it, I could tell you.
Well, I realize being a boater, yes, I know that it has to be dredged, and I know like about the drafts and everything, but I would like to hear the numbers, not just off the top of your head explaining where the 25,000 would go before I make a decision whether to just give the money or,
Well, it goes basically just to equipment rental.
okay, but I would like to hear from staff. They'll report back to us with a detailed of what it's gonna cost.
Alex, you have the breakdowns, right, of the two estimates I gave them to you? He's got the more detailed breakdown of what the float fees are gonna be and equipment and,
And that would have been nice to have
yeah,
for this meeting, because that's the kind of things I look at.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that it doesn't have to be dredged, because I know it does.
Could I suggest something, if you gentlemen don't mind? We have to get a report from staff. Like, we all have to look at it, and we could have an answer for you on June 17th. Would that be okay?
That'll be pushing it,
But that's at our next meeting.
right, but you have to remember, this equipment is just not sitting there waiting for us to call and say, bring it down. These guys are booked, so if we wait too long, they're gonna say, so, sorry, we're busy, and then there goes our window.
Also, our second option will be way too late. And that's going to the federal government
Yeah.
for funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have had to done that a long time ago.
Now, I did speak to Sean Fortan today, just a quick phone call, and I asked him if you guys said yes to this, if we could get a permit, like sort of an emergency permit to do it prior, like sooner. And he said he would ask, but he didn't think so because of the fish spawning down there right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna change.
Well, he's gonna ask the question, that's all we
The
can do.
mayor had asked to hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Melanie, I'm used to sitting beside you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hatfield. I think, first of all, I really wanted to commend Mr. Ferrand for coming in and acting as a speaker for the committee. I think that's very, very noble to come in at the last minute. As an avid recreational boater, I think I understand that how important this is to everyone. So thanks for coming and speaking on behalf of the group, Chuck. So a few things. I understand how important this is to everyone. And it's important for the municipality as well. The Marina Committee did work hard on the divestiture, but I can tell you that nobody worked harder than this on this than our staff. They put countless hours in, and Marina is very important. We don't want to lose it, and I know that making sure that the trench, that it's dredged and boaters can access it. So we're all working towards the same goal, but we need to make sure that the proper steps are followed. So I think ensuring, if we direct, as Councillor Hatfield has suggested, staff to come back, review our constraints and challenges, and especially our financial constraints, and come back to you with a decision, or come back to council with the appropriate business case by next council meeting. We can't go any quicker than that. I mean, those decisions, those dates were set in stone at the beginning of the year. So I would suggest that you reach out to Terry Sheehan now. The DFO and the ministry, I would imagine that fish spawning, like the understanding the knowledge, I understand that there's 8 or 9 or 10 people, the knowledge around that table, we would have had to take those timelines into consideration before coming here. So, I mean, asking the municipality to move our timelines, it's the same as what Eve is saying, right? We can only move as fast as our policies and procedures allow. And so I think we just have to find a goal within those timelines. And we'll work towards that. If for whatever reason we lose this year, then I think we have to all make a commitment to do better next year. Because if the numbers don't work and we come back to you with an unfavorable decision on the 17th, then what's the contingency plan? And I want everybody to think about that. What's the contingency plan? If we're not able to do exactly what you want, then what can we do to lobby and advocate other government bodies to come to the table as well? So that's something that I think we all need to think about.
Well, sorry, just, I don't wanna see the marina close, but
Nobody does.
$25,000, that's all it's going to cost to dredge?
Yes. Yes.
I
that's
thought
it.
it would have been a lot more.
Well, okay, so one way we got the price down was Cliff actually called the company in Thunder Bay, Cliff? Yeah, in Thunder Bay. Talked to the same guy to rent the same shovel we rented last time. And the guy gave us a quote, and it was up there. So when we started realizing that there's not a lot of money, Cliff called him back and he slashed the price again. Sorry, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. No, go ahead.
No, I got it. That was
Well,
the main thing.
I just like to talk about this $350,000 that's sitting there. It's supposed to be earmarked for the marina.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to see, Perry, before any of us really make up our minds, I would like to see what Alex, I think it would be Alex, to come up, what it's cost us to run the marina through all this time, and court fees and the bathrooms and a lot of other stuff. And I'm sure that, we'll agree on something, but if you guys can get some money, you never know what we're gonna say on June 17th, but I can't make a decision tonight unless I see all the figures. And there's quite a bit, but June 17th, we'll definitely have an answer. And you can't do really anything until that time anyway, right?
Well, it takes time to get equipment organized and manpower.
Yeah. Who are you renting from, Cliffy?
Same guy in Thunder Bay.
Has he got a business or just a?
Yeah, well, he's in Jiggers.
Okay. So how does everybody feel about that?
Well, so again, back to the $350,000. Why are we not using that?
That is something that I can give you an answer, Cliffy, once I see all the figures. Because I mean, Perry, I looked at the figures to what it's cost us to run the marina for quite a few years, and we take a lot of losses in there. And that's okay, we're ready to do that, but I just don't want it to go on because I don't want to see the marina shut down either. I just want to see something done. But I can't make up my mind on just two figures you gave me tonight and the $350,000. Yes, it's for the marina, but let's make sure that what we use it for is going to be done well. Not just, here's $25,000, go do this. And and then we'll lose 20, 30,000 a year, like, it's cost us a lot to run that place.
Well,
So we'll just wait for the figures, is that okay?
yeah, but I mean, just to argue with that, you're getting 100% of all the proceeds now from all the docks. You never had that before. You're getting 20. So
Yeah.
you can't be running at a deficit like you were before.
We weren't running at a deficit.
You told me we were. You said we always ran Marina at a deficit.
Since we took over, it's been a deficit because it took us time to get into the groove and everything. Go ahead,
Okay.
Dr. Cotterill.
Dr. Carter has some say.
Yeah, I just, this is all new to me and not new numbers. The money, that 500,000 that the federal government gave, like, that was for the running of the marina exclusively, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
More can.
do you want to answer that, Nora?
Yeah, I could give a very brief overview,
Okay, she
that,
understands it more than I do.
Alex could support, that the $500,000 was provided to the municipality unconditional. It does not have to be used for the marina. It was part of us taking on the infrastructure, and part of the money, the intention set out by the federal government was, we're taking on infrastructure that needs at a minimum $500,000 in repairs. We have a report, although dated in 2015, that the wharf at the marina is in disrepair. And the estimate at that time was $500,000 just to fix that. We have infrastructure that is aging and money being put into the marina. So council made the decision not long ago by resolution saying that it needed to pay some very hefty legal bills in the negotiations with the DFO and Mitchell First Nation to settle the exact claim. So the property is owned by Mitchell First Nation now, and we are on a 5-year lease. And so council made the decision that it would use some of the funds to pay for the new washroom facility and the legal fees incurred of $150,000 total. And the $350,000 has been put into a marina reserve fund, where council said it will be used for marina funds, but it will be up to council to decide what aspects of the marina the funds would be used for. But any interest earned in that year on that $350,000 would be sent back to support marina operations. So for council, the intention, but there is flexibility for council to make its decision by resolution how that $350,000 gets spent. Council has the authority to decide whether $25,000 would come from that fund for this project, or stay within its original intention that the $350,000 is to help when and if the lease agreement is terminated, because part of the agreement with Mitch McCotton is we will remove all our infrastructure, which includes all the break walls and all the docks and everything included within the marina leased area, which we know $350,000 is not sufficient funding for that. So that gives a brief overview. I'm happy to provide more details in a further staff report. But the messaging to everyone, but through our chair and to our mayor and council, is that by resolution, council can and does have the authority to set a resolution to take out any funds for any purpose out of that $350,000 you have set aside. Hopefully that's
Yeah, I just want to say, Perry, we're not against helping you guys out, but, don't stop trying to get funding. And we will show you the figures of how exactly it's doing at the next meeting. And maybe we could come to some agreement or something. But I would love to see the marina go on, all of us do. And there's no qualm there. But let's just make sure that the money's there.
Well, other question, how often do you guys have to dredge the channel? Because I think, what was it, about 5 or 6 years ago?
It's been every 5 years. So the sand is all washed out now. It'll take probably 5 years to build up again, and then might happen again, might not happen for 7 years. You don't know, it's just a cycle.
Depends on what washes down the river.
Correct.
Dr. Carter, you have a question?
And I guess we should consider, probably already have, but if the channel fills up and it's not dredged, then no one will be renting slips. And so all that money will be lost to the town. And then plus the derby wouldn't run. The marina, like the marina business couldn't operate, I guess. I don't know. Wow.
Yeah, we will have a decision for you on June 17th. Go ahead.
I have a question for the mayor, council, municipal staff. I think we all have been wanting to say this, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. The entity responsible for the damage of the marina and the sand buildup of the river is not paying their fair share. In my opinion, it is their total responsibility, and for us to go and ask them, what do we get? We'll supply a payloader. But if somebody like council, mayor, council, goes to them and says, wait a minute, guys. Most of us were around back in 1987 when Great Lakes Power introduced an idea to build a steep hill dam back up the Magpie River. Most of us remember it, but if you just give me a couple minutes, I want to explain to maybe the younger people, Mayor, with all due respect, exactly what went on here in 1987. And since then, I understand that when they do cause damage to Bucks Marina, they write them a big check. If they don't, they should. Yeah, don't hold me to that one. And I don't know why we can't go to them and say, listen, guys, you're causing a lot of damage, a lot of grief, you're responsible, because I know this for a fact, that if I dump some sand on Broadway Avenue, the township is gonna come to me and say, Mr. Ferrand, you clean up that pile of sand, or we'll clean it up and you're getting the bill. I don't understand why we're not going after the entity that caused this whole problem. If you want me to go on with this story, and I think most of us will go, you know what, we forgot. We were around then, but we forgot exactly what went down. And if you'd like me to give you the short version, I'll give it to you right now. Yes or no?
I'd like to hear it.
You'd like to hear it? 1987, Great Lakes Power put a proposal to Mishpacotton Municipal Mayor and Council, MFN, the First Nations, Ministry of Natural Resources, the business group, that they were going to build this dam and back up the Magpie River. There was a group known as short form FOM. They were called Friends of the Magpie. They were totally against it unless there was an environmental study done. Great Lakes Power did the corporate stick handling and said, you know what, if you want an environmental study, we're out. You remember in 1987, we were just coming out of a recession. The early 80s was a recession. We were just getting back on our feet. Part of the questions, some of the questions that the FOM asked was, why do we need more power? We have plenty of power here in Wawa. Don't understand why we want plenty of power. Now, this is something that through some digging and pretty easy digging, a few phone calls, I found out exactly why this went on, why the push was on. The push was on because in the late 80s, the GTA and the Golden Horseshoe was booming like mad. The environmentalists were after the provincial government to shut down all the nuclear power plants. They were short of electricity in Ontario. At that time, they couldn't buy it from Quebec, or they didn't want to buy it from Quebec, because remember, Quebec wanted to separate from Canada, okay? So, the fight was on, the pushback for doing the project unless environmental study went. The Minister of Environment stepped in, a fellow by the name of James Bradley, who just so happened to be from St. Catharines, decided to step in, and he said no environmental study is needed. So the project went ahead. The opposition said, well, we want a few provisions written into the agreement, one of them being Scenic High Falls stay the same. They proposed, in their proposal, Great Lakes Power said 15 cubic meters per second of water was going to be reduced to 7.1. So that's less than half the volume of water was going to be coming over Scenic High Falls. They said, well, you know what, we're not going to put it in. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're we're gonna build an ACE platform for you, we're gonna put a monument there, and it'll be just like before. So we're less than 50% of the volume of the water that comes down the Magpie River through, down the Magpie River, through Seneca Falls, through Silver Falls, through the Marina Basin, and less than that because at night they shut it off. So what we have is, we have a raging Mishmacoton River, and we got a creek from the Magpie, right, Kathy?
Yep.
Coming like this, so that's a river versus a creek. And anybody wants to argue with me, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I just had dinner with the lady that owns the island in the Mission, and she loves it. Because originally, her property only had room for one island. Now she can put a resort on her island. So that argument, we absolutely know the problem. We know the problem, we know the cause. So if we went to Great Lakes Power and say, we have a solution, but you're gonna have to shut off that bypass, what are they gonna say? So I think they should be approached, their upper echelon should be approached, and we should demand that they help us out. And so if it's a Band-Aid every 5 years, that's cheaper than what the alternative is. And the alternative is to shut that bypass down. There's three things that I just wanted to mention that the group was really against, and that's why they wanted the environmental assessment. The first one was flooding. The second one was soil erosion and diversion. And the third one, which I think was the most important at that time, was the toxic soil from the Algoma ore sulfur kill, contaminating the water, therefore going downstream, hurting our fish and whatever. But they didn't get any of that, and that's the story.
Well, that, I never knew any of that. So I am going to,
Can I add to that? I've been here all my life, 70 years. My mom was 10 years old when she came. I know the history of the place. Used to be 2 commercial fishing boats right at the marina. Okay, one was parked around the corner, Hublet, Lionel Hublet. The other one was, Bucks had one too. The water used to come over the falls and blow out the sand there. That's the problem, you're right, Great Lakes created that problem. Not, even if they maybe let it go over for a week or two, it might clear it all out again. We don't know. But they caused the problem. They flooded the fume kill in the 70s. I couldn't put a fire out in the fume kill. There was so much sulfur in the ground. You had to get vertical. If you sprayed like 45, you're throwing sparks all over the place because it won't go up. You have to get vertical with it and smother it with water. My next question is, not only the reserve owns the marina, is it in their best interest to shut us down? Can you hear me?
If I may, before Melanie speaks, they don't know that this is happening
You
yet.
know, procedural
I haven't been able
bylaw.
to talk to the chief, he's been away.
pardon me,
The
what?
procedural bylaws now being broken, we're way over the time limit for delegations.
Oh, guys, sorry, guys, I love to listen to everything, but we are way over our time. And I really enjoyed listening to you, and we will definitely have an answer on June 17th, and that's all I could tell you for now. So, sorry, or I think it's good. I wish you would have came to us a lot earlier.
We don't know it's gonna be filled in till it gets filled in, right? Till the snow goes and the
Yeah,
water
but
slows
we
down.
should always be ahead of the game and then have us things ready
Okay,
in
we need a
case.
dredge next summer then.
Well, then we'll just have to start working on it.
I got a
Okay.
quick question, please. If we were to raise, like, let's say, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 off of Western, Malamos, wherever, whatever, would you guys match dollar for dollar? Without question?
Well, that's a very good question. I can't answer tonight, Cliffy, but I think that's,
Because if we could put in 30,000 into doing it, or 40,000 into doing it, we could do a lot more now. That would
Yeah.
prevent doing anything next year.
okay, well, I have to call it a a night with
The
you
mayor has
guys.
one last comment, I'm sorry.
There's another comment?
Sorry, the mayor.
Oh, go ahead, Mel.
Councillor Hatfield, through you to the delegation, I just want to be sure. Councillor Hatfield we have delegated this issue to staff to review the matter, and while we'll do our best staff will do their best to bring this matter to council on June 17th, and council will do their best to make a decision. We can't promise a decision, but council will do, or staff will do their best. It's certainly something that we'll strive to do, but making promises is always something that we don't want to do, but we will work towards finding a resolution by June 17th. Depending on what information staff brings back, we might have to go back and find additional information. So, but I just want to temper expectations, because this is a big decision and there might be a lot of research that needs to be done. So.
I'm way over my time, guys.
I can't get a hold of it.
Are you sure that the community is clear on what you guys require? Like, you're talking about more detail.
Well, the detail comes from the finances that we have. We look, because we run it and what it's cost us.
But you're not accepting the $25,000 quote right now.
No, we have to,
You have to have what?
we're gotta get all the figures on it.
All the
Because of
figures,
what we
that's what I'm
spent-
saying, your
yeah.
figures about, for what?
For what we have put out on the marina since we took over.
The figures for what it costs for the machine, what it costs to haul the machine here, what it costs to do the work, how many hours. All of that has to be put.
And then when that comes up to $25,000, you'll make a decision where the quote is $25,000.
Yeah.
There's $350,000 that can be used for the marina, but you're saying no because you want these details.
Larry,
Why not?
we have to have more details. Really, we do. Well, you think we don't, but we have to look at everything, Larry, and it costs a lot to do everything. And if we could decide that, yeah, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do it, but I just need to see more figures and I haven't seen any for a while. And you can't make a decision the same night you come to council, it's just too hard on everybody. Anyway, I'm sorry, I have to call it a day with you guys, and thank you very much for coming. And June 17th is the earliest we'll have an answer.
You want it back so that you're cutting us off and sending us on.
Well, we have a procedural bylaw, and I went over it for 30 minutes.
See you guys.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
Do you have those two goals, or do I should have said it to you again?
Thank you. You can leave, you don't have to stay for the rest.
No.
Consider the tourism dollars too, add up the numbers.
18 inches ain't gonna cut my boat. Perfect.
I like your plan.
Yeah, I have.
Stay over, everybody.
Bye-bye.
By the way, off the record, we have a.
We're on camera, we're on camera.
Recorded. That's not appropriate.
No.
Okay. Adoption of minutes. Number 5, Lori, do you have that?
It's a verbal resolution. If you
Okay.
want to ask for mover seconder.
I'm really mixed up now. Yeah, go ahead. Joe,
I'll move.
you'll move to do it? Jim, you'll second it?
Yep.
Everybody in favor? Thank you. Okay, so new business. Vehicle maintenance and replacement policy draft for comment. I think we've all read it. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I do. I just wanted to comment I would like to, before this policy, we put it through again, would like to see maybe some changes, which I will discuss with Maury and putting into the policy. And I would like to see a report on what other northern communities do, similar in size, when it comes to their policies for how long they keep vehicles.
I can respond, Councillor Cannon. What is presented for you has been based on research for other northern municipalities. In fact, I found that the majority of communities our size have no policies around the vehicle maintenance replacement. It's not a normal policy. Policies are being developed in asset management plans as municipalities are being legally required to do them, so there's more interest. But if we go to the surrounding communities around us, none of them have a policy. So this is presented to council after comparison of the policies that are available to us online with research and based on what's in our asset management plan, and these are industry standards. So I hope that provides you comfort in that it has been researched and compared with other municipalities.
Well, I'd like to see something on leasing, like if that's cheaper than buying outright.
That's not usually in a vehicle maintenance policy. That would be part of your purchasing policy or a decision at the time when you want to have staff replace a vehicle. That's not normally something leasing in a vehicle maintenance replacement policy.
Okay, but can we add in that, like the undercoating, what we do to maintain it, how we maintain it?
We don't go into specifics in a policy. Those are operational matters. What we've put in the policy would be, again, a municipal standard around we will follow the manufacturer's specifications around the care and maintenance of the vehicle. Also, it depends on a number of factors, right, that come into it on whether that vehicle, how it's used, how many kilometers, hours, all those other things come into it. But in a policy, staff abides by council's governance and general direction as put out in a policy. It doesn't go down into detail that staff must do an oil change every 5,000 kilometers, or must do an undercoating. I think that the policy says that staff will do the job it needs to do to ensure that there's care, control, and understanding of how much it costs when it comes to vehicle replacement, that we will do everything as a team to maintain our equipment to the best of our ability, which is shared by council by directing in a policy that we follow the manufacturer's specifications. So you can make those recommended changes, and I'm happy to review your recommendations with staff. But I'm sharing as a caution that a policy shouldn't go down into detail telling staff how to operate. You tell us to take care of the vehicles and use them as long as we can and take care of municipal taxpayers' money. That's the governing principles. We are hired with the expertise to make sure that happens. So I'm happy to take your comments and consider it and review it with other staff and mechanics and to come back to council with the revised policy.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at saving money, and it's all about the saving money. At some point in time, we have to look at, you know, where we're gonna cut things and that. And like, and I'm not saying let's start there specifically, but it's one of the things that maybe we could save money doing other things, that's all.
Absolutely, and so if I may, through the mayor and chair, staff shares, we are aligned on our goals here. Like, we really do believe in what you believe in, and that is that we take every opportunity to the best of our ability to save the municipality money, because we know the challenges we all face. And you know, the Marina discussion is just an example of the many issues this council faced. So I am happy to put a policy towards you for consideration. There's no need for rushing on this policy. We can review it and make sure it matches council's needs, but as well as staff. Because if you read through the policy, the whole intention of all the clauses are about making sure we understand not just years of service, hours of service, types of service, maintenance records that we have on file. I'm sure you have experiences in your life, but at least I do, where I bought a vehicle and it was a lemon, and it didn't matter, because I am known as a very tight person, and frugal, I like to say, but I had no choice but to replace that vehicle a lot early, because we just were putting in so much money in maintenance. So in the policy, generally speaking, I'm setting out the best that we can do as a staff to maintain equipment and elongate its life cycle, its life for council and for taxpayers. But to go into a policy that puts in every detail is not recommended. Staff will make sure that we follow your guidelines. So we are aligned in goals. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Any other questions?
The mayor's hand is up.
No. Okay. Thank you. I can't, I always seem to forget that. Go ahead, Mel.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hatfield. Through you to council and staff, I reviewed the fleet management policy, and I did take the time to research and really do the work that our residents are expecting. And when I did compare it to the larger municipalities that have fleet management policies, I really do think staff hit the mark. I did also take notice that other municipalities in our region do not have similar fleet management policies. So I really applaud our team on being a leader in this regard. And I think that, once again, I think, it's really nice to see us being a leader in policy development. And I think that really, that makes me proud as council. It's our job to set policies, and I think this is one that we can be proud of. And I agree that, getting into the operational details in a policy, it does sometimes have unintended consequences further down the road and can sometimes tie us to this. So I don't have anything to add. I think like I said, we hit it. And I think that this is really something for you to be proud of, Councillor Cannon, because you really did advocate for this fleet management policy. But I really think that it is something that stands well on its own and doesn't need a lot of upgrades.
Okay, 8.2, CAO member student wage policy.
This is a policy to council. This is just an update, if I may call it a simple update. It's taking a policy that was outdated and bringing it into line that we hope to do and spend more time on all our policies. Basically, it's just adjusting the wage rate. The wage rate in the former policy is still set at $7.21, so it indicates how out of date it was. So it brings in line with what is required, as we've agreed to in the union contract, to bring the rate up to a certain amount and COLA being adjusted. And the great part of it as well, and this is not new, this was in the previous policy, is giving an added wage incentive to our returning students. When we have good students, we want them to return, especially in this market where it's very difficult to attract students. So after 1 year, provided that the director or supervisor recommends, if a student returns a second year, they get a 25 cent per hour, I don't want to call it bonus, increase in their wage, 50 cents a second year, et cetera. So this is not new, but it's just bringing the policy in line with today's wages.
And that'll change also in November, right? Because, or October, it goes up again for.
I believe I did check that, and we are still above what the minimum rate will be in October, although I don't have it memorized. Is it 16.50? We're still above.
17.
Oh, yeah, but students have a lower rate. So yes, it'll include that, and I'll make extra note to make sure of that.
Okay.
Now.
So if council has no objection, Chair, we bring it forward to the next council meeting for vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I have to say that, or you doing just fine?
No, we can share.
8.3, council remuneration policy update.
So staff again are going through policies and trying to review and bring forward those policies that need to be updated. And one of the ones that I reviewed was policy HR 007. It's 11 years old regarding council remuneration. As you can see in my report, back in 2014, there was a clause added that did give COLA, a COLA increase to council every January 1st. So the wages have been increased by a COLA calculation and as the union does it. But having said that, I did research, and council can see in the report, I surveyed 10 communities as close as I could find in population and council composition. Also showed you how that COLA increase in many ways is unfair to the position making more, which in this case is the mayor, compared to the council, because the way the union does the COLA calculation, if it's 2%, it's converted to money, and the same amount of money is given like staff, right, across the board. So you can see that the increases given to the mayor were less over the last 10 years than the council. I show you what the averages are for what I've surveyed. And I would end to say there are many, many ways that a council honorarium can be set. According to our policy of the past, it was set a blanket per annum honorarium. I think it's paid monthly. It wasn't conditional on committees you joined or meetings you attended or hours of work. Some municipalities have honorariums that are maybe a flat rate with an additive, X number per meeting attended. There are many, many ways to look at this, but it would be my recommendation to council tonight to consider a small increase to councillors and mayor's honorarium to bring us up in line closer to the averages that were studied. And to keep the same system to not pay by meeting. It does cost some administrative nightmares for staff to track that. And sometimes it's not by purpose or intent. Some councillors have time or interest to serve on committees versus another. So we don't want to, I think, promote or recommend to council a system that might introduce some unfairness into the system. Also, I can say, and I'm proud to say, that this council has attended the majority of meetings, and attendance is not an issue with any member of the mayor or council. So it's not like a punitive system of only paying per meeting and not paying if you don't come. I've seen it used in municipalities where there's attendance, so it's used as an incentive for attendance. We don't have that situation here. But certainly that would be my recommendation as set out in the report. But council could certainly look at this because there's a lot of ways if council wanted to look at the remuneration rate. We are available to assist. Thank you.
I'm okay with the way you're doing it.
Yeah, I was happy with it too. So Maury, there's going to be a bylaw come at the next meeting for this?
Yes, I think there might be other comments. The mayor has a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Poor Mel.
I know there's no noise.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hatfield. I just I wanted to say thank Maury for bringing this report forward. I think that the timing is good because it's very far in advance, a year and a half before the election. But I do want to say that I think it's in line with what I'm hearing and seeing from groups like AMO or Phenom, and groups that I sit on, like the Healthy Democracy Committee, which is really striving to attract young and diverse people to have an interest in municipal politics. And as we look to, at our upcoming election, remuneration is always an interesting part when we're looking to encourage people to consider running for council or to consider having an interest in municipal politics. I'm really interested in having Wawa be able to offer rates that are comparative with other communities. So knowing that our council is committed to that, perhaps they'll have to compete with all of us, or perhaps none of us, but making sure that we are offering competitive wage that will be able to attract the very best and brightest people to serve on our council is, I think, really important. So I'm certainly in favor of the recommendation presented. I think it's really a good thing.
Thank you, Mel. 8.4, provincial budget highlights. We got those at the last meeting, Maureen.
I believe I could be wrong, forgive me, Chair, but I believe I said I would bring forward a report. I know I've shared through email some highlights of the provincial budget, but I've made a commitment to council that you can read. We don't need to go over tonight just try to highlight those components that have direct interest or a direct impact on the municipality of Wawa, and essentially to summarize that there is some great news. There's another water and sewer infrastructure program that's been announced that we can apply to, and we're working with Crescent Engineering to get an application, and we'll bring council some more information about that application on June 17th. It's basically to, as recommended by a consultant, to fix some of the dead ends. We've talked about this before, but some of our sewer and water lines are dead end at the end of the street, and it's not ideal. So we'll bring forward that information, and there are some regulations to come that we'll bring more information on, and it has to do with the planning processes under the Planning Act, where our bylaws, for example, say in the residential third zone that every individual has to have a 4-foot side yard, but the province is saying now to reduce the amount of time and money it takes someone to come to council to ask for a small variation, that they would get variations as of right. So there's a lot coming, but the budget overall has some good news. And depending on how you look at it, maybe not in all the areas we would want the funding to go in Northern Ontario, go towards physician recruitment, hospital funding, those things. But I've given you a summary, and we can bring it forward if council wants to speak about it at a future date, yes.
The Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, they're talking about 1.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're getting already, but they keep dropping?
Yeah, so it's done by a formula. So even though the province would announce that the overall Ontario budget's been increased, doesn't translate necessarily to an increase to the municipality of Wawa, because there's a very complicated formula. I don't need to go into detail tonight on how they look at a municipality and look at your debt load, your taxes, actually your infrastructure, your asset management plan. Then there's a Northern Ontario bonus if you're a municipality in Northern Ontario. So they do a formula, and for the municipality of Wawa, we've actually lost $50,000 per year since I was hired about 6 years ago every year, which equates to about a 1% residential tax increase. I say even except for this year, we received a $50,000 more than last year. We're not recovered to the amount we received 5 years ago. So just because the budget is providing more money, it doesn't mean it's coming to Wawa, but it means it's going to municipalities. It's just we don't know until the formula is done every year if we'll be the same, lower, or higher. So I hope that answers your question, because I can't tell you the amount.
Is that the dam money, or is this something
No, we
different?
get the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. The short term is OMPF, and it's an unconditional grant that the province gives to all municipalities in Ontario, giving back so you can operate municipalities. So it's a way the province provides some of the tax revenue it collects to help municipalities pay for things that some would argue are provincial responsibilities, like ambulance care, et cetera, et cetera. It's a political debate, but this is an unconditional grant we get every year. And it is of the utmost importance to our taxpayers, because if we lost that grant, which about 4 years ago, the government ran on a platform that it was going to reduce every year until it was gone, the taxes in this municipality would have to go up substantially to compensate, or the reverse services cut. So it's very, very important, and we get it every year. We get notice in the fall, and then we get 4 quarterly payments, so every municipality in Ontario gets it.
Maury, we're still looking at getting Tamarack done too, the way, like, it's not funded yet, but we're always looking for the money for it.
Yeah, we've applied twice, unfortunately, it's been rejected, and I believe we will, but other priorities have risen, of more importance, so that will be part of staff's report on June 17th, because we have a recommendation on what we should apply for in this round, and that would take council's concurrence, because at this time, working with the engineer, subject to change, we're in the review and study process, we are not recommending Tamarack at this time. There's other water and sewer issues in this municipality that need addressing, because this particular fund, just to make it clear, is including rehabilitation of existing infrastructure, where the other 2 times it wasn't an option. So, doing a new project on Tamarack would have been eligible. And it is a rarity, at least in my experience, that there's a large fund that municipalities can apply to rehabilitate existing services. So if we know there's infrastructure coming to end of life or some issues in the community, some of the projects, and I should stop, or I won't have a presentation on the 17th because I'm giving all it tonight. Some of the things we looked at, and these come from engineering studies, some areas in the community, sewer lines aren't at the proper depth, so they freeze more. Ideally, we'd like to get rid of our what's the winter things I have? Bypasses. So there's a lot, and we're in the review process with our engineer, and we'll report back on the 17th.
Good, thank you, Lori. Okay, next meeting date, Tuesday, June 17th. I'm sure it'll be a good one. And an adjournment. Kathy and Joe and everybody, God.
All in favor?
Oh, thanks. I've had so much fun tonight. You're not gonna put that down,
Stop me on the door.
We got it regular, it's not very long.
Okay, couldn't we go ahead? Thanks, Kevin.
Night, Kevin.
See you.
Call to order and note members present. The room's a little less with the members, but Daniel and still hanging in there. Approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 be approved as presented.
Announcement and giving.
Sorry, did I jump? I'm sorry.
No.
You missed pecuniary interest.
I'm sorry. Disclosure of pecuniary interest? None. Now the approval of the agenda, all in favor? Thank you. Announcements and giving of notice. Everybody, I'm sure, has read all of that. The adoption of minutes, regular council meeting Tuesday, 25th. Special council meeting Thursday, 22nd.
Moved by Councillor Hoffman, second by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the following minutes of the meetings of council be adopted as presented. Minutes of a regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, as contained on pages 1 to 5, inclusive of the minute book. Minutes of a special meeting of council held on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, as contained on pages 1 to 2, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Correspondence. Oh yeah, the update on the OPP cost recovery was interesting, Lauren. And consent agenda.
Moved by Councillor Hoffman. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Chair.
I'm a little rattled. Am I on number 7.1?
Yeah, you were right.
Okay. So from 7.1 to 7.4, we have, you just read it and we don't have to.
That's right.
Thank you.
The consent the consent resolution is moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hoffman. Resolved that the items listed under consent agenda 8.2, it should be 7.2 to 7.4, be approved as recommended.
All in favor? Thank you. Staff reports memo.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hoffman. Resolved that council does hereby receive the following committee board minutes.
All in
Oh, something
favor?
happened. Oh, no, sorry. Please forgive me, I read the wrong resolution.
That's
I
okay.
just forgot to skip these. Okay, I'm sorry, Chair. Moved by Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Paddle. Resolved that council does hereby receive the following staff report memos. CAO memo HR 014, student wages policy update. CAO 2025-06 HR 007, council remuneration policy update. CAO memo provincial budget highlights.
All in favor? Bylaws, first, second, and third reading, the resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hoffman, second by Councillor Paddle. Resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read the first, second, and third time, and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 3798-25, to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on the 3rd day of June 2025.
All in favor? Next meeting date, June 17th.
Close the meeting.
Close of the,
Sorry.
that's okay. I need all the help I can get tonight. Adjournment,
Moved by Councillor Rapato, seconded by Councillor Hoffman. Resolved that the meeting closed at 7:56 p.m.
all in favor? Thank you very much.